Well, Marvel finally did the unthinkable. They released the first trailer for Avengers Doomsday and the internet is losing their minds. Overall, the general reception that I've seen has been pretty positive, which is surprising considering how much fire the MCU has been under in recent years. That being said, I'm not on Twitter because I value my mental health, and I'm sure it's a bloodbath on there regardless. Now, I've talked on this channel before about my hesitance surrounding Avengers Doomsday. Of course, as a Marvel fan, I'm excited to finally get another Avengers film, but also the more I kept hearing about the movie, the more nervous I got. A movie so overcrowded with so many characters and factions that have never been introduced before, with a new big bad / protagonist that has to be introduced, set up, and fleshed out in the same movie? To be honest, it all seemed impossible to me. And despite the fact that this trailer was pretty damn cool, it didn't quell my skepticism just yet. So today, I'm going to be breaking down the trailer into two sections, the parts of it that look good to me, and the parts of it that don't. Now, the last time I expressed any kind of negative opinion about this movie on my channel, I got a lot of hate. So I just wanted to say that if you disagree with anything I say in this video, fine. It's my video. Listen, if you want to see a reactor blindly jizz over the trailer, then there's plenty of those to go around. Anyway, before I get into this, if you are new around here, then please do subscribe, because only 10% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, and I spend hours on these things. So if you could just hit subscribe, it would mean a lot. Just do it, okay? Or I'll kill you and then get Eric Voss to make a breakdown on how I murdered you. Alright, you don't want that. So, what do I like about it? What do I not? Let's get into it. Firstly, let's start at the beginning of this trailer, and wow, I love Downey's voice as Dr. Doom so far. I've watched the trailer now maybe 20 times, and I still cannot hear Robert Downey Jr. in those opening seconds of the trailer. I know it's him, but it's such a good accent that I physically can't hear it, which is a great thing, because I think it's safe to say that a lot of us were worried that it would be too difficult to distinguish Doom from Tony Stark, and that would be weird, but luckily for us, Downey is a fantastic actor, and he's clearly very committed to this character, which is nice to see. Honestly, the more time that passes, the more the idea of him playing Doom is growing on me. Obviously, it reeks of desperation and a craving for money, sure. But also, I don't know, from a fan's perspective, it's pretty cool, and I'm genuinely curious to see what the implications that this is going to have on the story are. Like, what happens when Thor finds out that their greatest enemy has the same face as one of his closest friends? I don't know. I want to see that. Speaking of Thor, ding ding ding, another positive. Well done, Marvel. If there's one thing about the Russo brothers, they know how to get Thor right. Infinity War delivered what most people unanimously agreed to be the best version of Thor that the MCU has ever given us, and even in Endgame, where he's a bit more controversial, I thought it was a powerful story about depression and grief that elevated his character. And then Love and Thunder happened, which we don't need to talk about that. But Thor is my favorite MCU character by a considerable amount, and between this trailer and the Thor dedicated teaser that we got in December, it seems like we're getting Thor at his most serious, which I absolutely love. Plus, he's totally like the lead of this trailer. He narrates the entire thing with his awesome monologue to the rest of the Avengers, and he's probably the character that I think we see most of. I hope this doesn't mean they're setting him up for death. Okay, I think there's plenty more stories to tell, and Chris Hemsworth refuses to age, so make him keep doing it until he's 90. So we see Thor in the new Avengers Tower talking to the new Avengers and Captain America's Avengers, which just seems to consist of him, Falcon, and Ant-Man? And I guess Shang-Chi, but we don't see him here in this shot. Firstly, what an absolute ass lineup of Avengers. And Doom could stop Stormbreaker with 2 fingers, and this is what they're coming up against him with? Where's Captain Marvel? Where's Doctor Strange? And secondly, this is where I have a real negative to talk about. The actual Avengers in this Avengers movie don't exist and have had zero build-up. I mean, for starters, I think the way that Marvel has treated Anthony Mackie and Sam Wilson since Endgame is fucking awful, and you can watch this video of mine to understand why. But we've seen nothing so far of him forming an Avengers team, getting to know them, having the foundation to become a leader. And let me just remind you that amidst all the crazy shit we see of the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Thunderbolts, Loki, this is an Avengers film. Avengers! And quite frankly, I think it's disappointing that not only is this their lineup, but that we've seen absolutely jack shit about them up until this point. Speaking of the X-Men though, I have to say everything we see of the Avengers going up against the X-Men is pretty great. Gambit versus Shang-Chi looks absolutely unreal, and also I'm just so happy that Shang-Chi is back. That movie was so underrated. It's in my top 3 of post-Endgame MCU movies alongside Thunderbolts and Guardians 3. And honestly, the fact that it's taken them 5 years to do something with this character, despite how good the movie was and despite how great Simu Liu is, it blows my mind. But he's finally back, so I will shut my cynical ass up and I will just enjoy seeing him on the screen. Yelena versus Mystique also looks really fun. I'm interested to see what sort of role Mystique is going to play in this movie with the shape-shifting ability, and also, one must ask, why are the Avengers and the X-Men fighting? Has Doom manipulated both teams into fighting each other? Maybe he came to the Avengers and led them to believe that the X-Men are the cause of the incursions, and then by having them fight it out, he can choose the strongest warriors to come to Battleworld. I don't know, just a theory. James Marsden is back as Cyclops, and he looks incredible in the comic-accurate suit. We then see Loki in his TVA outfit, which is very surprising, as the last time we saw him, he was in his God of Stories form, holding the multiverse together. But I have a theory. If you look at this shot, not only does the color grading give it an old-timey feel, but the curtains behind him look older, not the sort of decor that you'd find in modern-day houses. So I think that Loki is currently at the house of Steve Rogers from when he went back in time at the end of Endgame. Whatever the deal is with Doom in this movie, he clearly has some kind of direct involvement with Steve, and I think in this scene, Loki may be trying to protect Steve from him. But either way, seeing Tom Hiddleston back is always a positive, especially after the Loki show. He's so much more of an interesting and different character than we've ever seen before. This point here isn't really a negative, just something that made me laugh. This shot here where M'Baku greets the Thing just made me think, wow, the Avengers are so fucked. I mean, look at this lineup. Ben, Sue, who granted is very strong, Bucky, Falcon, Ghost, and US Agent. If no one dies in this movie, it's a miracle. We see Scott Lang kissing the forehead of his daughter Cassie, who was confirmed to be in the movie a while ago. I really hope that her being in this isn't setting up a secret young Avengers team in this movie. Dominic Thorne said that the chances of her returning as Ironheart in Doomsday is high, and God, I hope that isn't true. Not because I don't want to see that team in the MCU, but because this movie, it's got too much going on already. I don't know how we're gonna fit this in 2 hours and 40 minutes. We don't need another team. I've heard the rumor, and frankly, I reject it. Please keep them far away from this film, okay? Let them have their own moment in a few years where they're all 30 and not young anymore. We see Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen in their same scene from the X-Men teaser from December, and this is just a big positive for me because I love both of these actors, and the fact that they, in their 80s, are willing to get back in action as these superheroes is just a testament to their love for the fans and the franchise, because they really don't need to be doing all this at the age of 87. I do think they'll probably both die in this film though, sadly. I mean, especially with the mutant saga coming after Secret Wars, I just feel like they'll want to kill off most of the X-Men to pave the way for a new and younger cast. Before I get to the most talked about part of the trailer, I first want to ask, where the fuck are Spider-Man and Doctor Strange? On Easter Day, RDJ posted this image of Doctor Doom holding several Easter eggs of characters that will be in Doomsday, and amongst the bunch are, sure enough, a Spider-Man egg and a Doctor Strange egg, seemingly confirming their return in the movie. And it's just kind of weird that, like, they've not been revealed yet at all. I'm sure the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to set something up, but I'm so curious to see how they're going to fit these two characters into the movie that is already, as I've said, full to the brim and boiling over. And now we come to the part of the trailer that everybody has been discussing. Thor leaps towards Doctor Doom in the same way that he does in Wakanda in Infinity War, and Doom calmly stops Thor's attack with just 2 fingers. Now, this is the part of the trailer that I feel the most mixed on. Because on one hand, yeah, Doom stopping Stormbreaker with 2 fingers is fucking awesome and really establishes just how strong he is. On the other hand, this scene looks bad. I don't use the term AI generated a lot as a critique of cinema because I think it's done too often, but yeah, these shots do look AI generated. I'm sorry, the background looks cheap. You can see that this was a green screen stage. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to be that one negative Nelly who just sees an awesome moment like this and complains, but it really put me off when I was watching the trailer. Like, I remember being really in it and then just thinking, wow, that looked ass. I just hope it looks better in theaters in December. I mean, they still have several months of post-production, so I am hopeful. And then we get our big stinger at the end of the trailer. Thor is aboard what looks like a Fantastic Four ship in space as he locks eyes with a man, holds out his hammer, and it flies into the open hand of Steve Rogers. Chris Evans is back in the role, and as social media has been saying, looking like a regular dude. Now, this is going to be the most controversial part of my video because, no, I have not budged from my viewpoint from my video back in December. I still hate the fact that he's back. It boils my blood. RDJ being back is pushing the nostalgia bait a little bit, but at least it's interesting because he's a totally different character. Like, Doctor Doom having the face of Tony Stark, that's inherently interesting. What will the implications of that be for our heroes, right? But Chris Evans just being back as the same Steve Rogers, despite the fact that he got the most perfect untouchable, and complete ending out of anyone in Avengers Endgame, I'm sorry, it's ludicrous. I don't care what kind of rationale they give for him being back. It is a decision that just reeks of laziness and greed, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Because it also just sets a precedent. Steve got, again, the best ending possible in Avengers Endgame. The most final and closed book ending that any character in the MCU has ever gotten. So if he can just come back into the fold because of all this multiverse bullshit, then why should we feel any kind of stakes in the MCU ever? Any character can come back. Gamora, Loki, kind of Iron Man, and now Steve. It's just frustrating. Also, it annoys me because, again, how they've been treating Anthony Mackie since Endgame. I think that Sam Wilson's a great character and could be such an interesting Captain America. I go into it more in depth in this video, so make sure to give it a watch, but the fact that he's only gotten one movie as Captain America, in which he wasn't even given the grace of a character arc anyway, and now in the movie where he finally gets to be Captain America and lead an Avengers team, he gets overshadowed by the return of Chris Evans. I'm sorry, that's just rude. I feel sorry for him, I really do. And listen, I would love to be proven wrong, okay? I would love it if I walked into the theater on December 18th and came out like, wow, I am so happy that they brought Chris Evans back. What a great decision. It really elevated the story. I am open-minded to that possibility. But as of now, as it stands, I just think he should have stayed in the past. Listen, overall though, I think this was a good trailer. It was action-packed, didn't really reveal much about the plot, but still had a good amount of intrigue for audiences to chew on. I have my skepticisms about this movie, and I don't think it's going to be game-changing or anything, but also, I don't know, the Russo brothers and Stephen McFeely have yet to steer us wrong in the MCU, so I'm putting my trust in them and praying that this film will cement the MCU back into its place in pop culture. Thank you for watching this video. If you'll excuse me, I now need to go and watch all the X-Men films, because I've yet to do that, and everyone knows Marvel's not Marvel without several hours of homework. Please do subscribe for more content. Spider-Man Brand New Day is just around the corner, so you can bet I'm going to be talking about that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all later. Have a great day. Goodbye.